Hey babe, so today I'm going to be teaching how to make your wig on a sewing machine for beginners. So I have a 22-inch head, block head. You can find the numbers here on the back of the head. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it does say 22. And I have a dome cap, a mesh dome cap that I ordered from Amazon using just a regular old tripod you can get from Amazon. It's like $40. I already went ahead and I plugged it. You want to plug it like you plug a frontal. You want to customize your closures. You don't want it to look thick. You want it to look still soft even though it is a closure. So I did already plug the closure as well as bleach the knots. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start the process of, you know, making the closure wig. So I take it not a full inch, like a quarter of an inch down in front of my mesh dome cap, and I take it from the sides and I pin it on each side where that thick piece is on the closure. Pin it down on both sides, and that's how it will look. And then I take it on the back. I'm gonna take it this way so you guys can see. I take it here and I pull it pretty tight and I pin it down here on the back. If you want to make your frontal, your closure by hand, this is where you would go ahead and, you know, clip this piece up and proceed to sewing it down. But I'm not doing this by hand. So with that being said, we're gonna end up taking this closure back off this cap today. So with that being said, I'm just gonna pin it, I'm gonna wrap it to get the hair out of my way. And we're gonna mark it using a NYX white pencil. Make sure it's not flappy in the back. So I pin that down as well. So with that being said, now I'm gonna take my NYX pencil, it's just a regular NYX eyeliner. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna start to line where this closure is. You want to put the line pretty close to the closure as possible, because once you start to sew around this closure, it's going to stretch and the closure is not going to fit. Trust me, I learned my lesson. Take it here, go ahead and line it. Just like that. So that's done. It's lined on each side as well as it's lined in the back. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna tighten up my tripod. I like that part to be kind of loose because I like to move it around a lot when I'm lining. I'm gonna go ahead and take my closure off. And there we have it. This part always looks a little stretched right here. So I'm gonna take these lines and I'm gonna take them down right here. Only because when I go to make this closure, it's gonna pull even further. And when it pulls further, it stretches this part out more. And so it causes that closure to not fit and I have to go back in and sew pieces in. Trust me, I learned my lesson. So with that being said, I just went in and drew straight lines down where that closure is actually gonna be. So now that we're done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and start to outline where I want my bundles to be. I like to start my bundles here, right above that V, right here, right above that V where that stitching is, and I take it and I draw it out. I draw straight lines out because once you take it off the dome cap, it's gonna curve. It's gonna come off and it's gonna curve. So I try to like to draw it as straight as possible. And then I go right above that little elastic part, and that's gonna be where my second line is. You don't want your lines to be really close. You wanna space them out as much as possible. Well, not as much as possible. You wanna space them out to a certain degree, I guess. And you wanna make your lines as straight as possible. That's what I meant to say. Your lines as straight as possible, because if you don't, it will cause your tracks to be sewn in like this when you're trying to follow the line, which would cause it to be lumpy. So you want your lines to be straight. And I like to put distance in between because I double my tracks and I stitch with a zigzag stitch. And so when you stitch with a zigzag stitch, it gathers. So it pulls from the top and the bottom and it pulls it to sew that track. And when it pulls, it shrinks the cap. If you have too many tracks together, you're not gonna have any stretch on that dome cap. You can see it's like flappy back here. A lot of people go in and they like, you know, custom refit their caps. Go in and stitch them and refit their caps. You guys, I don't know how to do that yet, so I ain't even gonna pretend like I do. But that's what they typically do. They go in and they refit the cap so it's not all baggy like that. I'm gonna keep going. You don't want your cap to be baggy, so I'm gonna learn how to, you know, restitch the cap so I can teach you guys how to do that. So you don't have a problem like I am right now with that extra bagginess. You want it to be fit. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it. I have 4 bundles. They're all gonna be doubled, so I just pretty much guesstimate how much I feel like is gonna, you know, how many bundles is gonna take to cover it. 1 bundle is about 3 lines for the bottom. And then after that, it's like 1 bundle per 2 lines, 2.5 lines. So that was a really uneven line, which caused the wig to look really messed up. So with that being said, I just drew a line where it should be. And I put an X, you know, which line I should follow, because that's gonna help me not sew on the wrong stitch and make it lumpy. This is a brand new pencil, and look, it's already out, y'all. I'm gonna open the pencil. I opened the pencil, and I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the rest of this pencil. Use it, utilize, don't throw it away. So after I draw the U's up here, I go in and I draw straight lines. 1, 2, and then 3. The first straight line is gonna be a little lower. So I draw straight lines because it's gonna close out all of that. So this is how my lines look on my cap. Pretty good. Pretty good. Like Makeup Shayla would say. Except for this one, went really high. I just noticed it in the camera. It went really high instead of staying true to the length, to the cap. That's better. That one was really high. Versus this side looks pretty even for the most part. It'll work. But if it's too high or too low or too loopy, it won't work. It has to be pretty even when you put that on the sewing machine. It has to be pretty symmetrical. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and switch over to our sewing machine so you guys can see how we make it on the sewing machine. Alright, so I have my bundles here. I'm gonna go ahead and take the bundles off and I unroll it. Am I zoomed in? So I have my bundles and I'm starting to unroll it. So I take it's still doubled. As you all can see, it's still doubled. I take it and I never stack it one on top of each other. I stack it one above each other like this so that it's really flat. I put it right underneath my sewing machine. Let me zoom in. I put it right underneath. I hope you guys can see, probably not. my sewing machine and I go ahead and place my needle down and I clip it. And then I start to press the foot lever to get it going. So I put the needle right in between the bottom, the first track, wherever my track is, on the top or bottom. I put my needle down on that and then I lock it in with the second one. And then I start to press the foot lever to, you know, get the ball going. And then I reverse it and then we go back. So the easiest way that I found is to put both of your fingers here, right underneath this piece here. Right underneath this piece here to keep it together and then to begin sewing and to sew. So I'm using a Brothers sewing machine. I have it on a 5 zigzag stitch, a 6 spacing. I don't remember what the 2.5 is, but I was told to put it on 2.5 from the person that initially, you know, was teaching me. So here we are, back here. Y'all, my husband he did this whole setup for me. Pray for me right now. We're gonna put it back under the machine once again. I already did the first one. We're gonna push it under. I can't see. Holy crap. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and put our fingers here. Let's pray that that's on there right. If not, then we're gonna hit it in reverse. And start again, push it through. And we keep our fingers here. Let me show you guys. All right, so we keep our fingers here to keep these two together. So as you can see, I keep my fingers here and just let them stitch. You could put the hair through and then we only have a little bit left. I like to keep mine on the speed 3. You can always turn the speed down or up depending on the level that you want to go on. I always started at 3. I can't start slower because I feel like if I learn slow, I'm going to stay slow. So I'm someone who has to start fast and just learn that way. Hit it in reverse. Be careful when hitting it in reverse because it does move and it's not too even on the bottom. It's kind of weird, but it's okay. And it has like a little ripper right here to cut the thread. All right, so I'm only gonna do 2 on camera. So we're gonna take our cap. As you guys can see, I'm gonna take it right underneath the needle where the white line starts. So we're gonna go ahead and take our tracks, line it up with the cap, push it under, push it, lock it in, and secure it. So you can, you know, at this point, you can go ahead and line it up. You want to line it up with the line, and you don't want to stretch. You don't want to pull the cap. You just want to make sure the cap is flat. So you just like kind of want to rub gently and go ahead and get started. You want to hit it. You want to hit it in reverse at least twice. And you want to turn as the you know, the cap, the lines continue to turn. You want to go with the flow of the cap. I told you guys that they're gonna kind of like tilt downward. I want to stitch, as you can see, downward with the lines. We're gonna go ahead and cut that and proceed to the next track. I'm gonna go in and cut all the threads when I'm done because it'll just be easier for me to do it that way, especially while trying to teach it. Line it up, put it under, secure it, lock it down, and get started. Make sure it's flat and get going. I flatten it out section by section because it's going to be really wrinkly. So I flatten it out section by section. I don't worry about all of it at once. Pull it through. We're gonna go ahead and cut it back here. And there we have it. That's the second one. You want them to look really flat like this. If they don't look flat like this, then we're gonna start to lump up and cause you a lot of trouble. So I went ahead and I did a few more rows. Now we're down to the next row. So I'm gonna show you guys how I do the U. You still don't want to stretch the cap, but at the same time, you don't want all of this extra cap underneath. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it down. This cap, I mean, I've already started stitching this one, as you can see, but I'm gonna still show you how I do it. You always want to do a reverse to make sure you secure, like I stated. And you see I'm already getting this prepared, like the U. And then I begin to turn the cap and the hair at the same time. So when it's going too fast, I just stop it, I turn it, and I proceed to continuing the same thing over and over. Stop it, turn it. I'm not pulling, as you guys can see, like I'm not doing this, you don't see that. I'm just literally putting my hand down like this. If I move it, it's not stretched, it's not gonna move. So you don't want it to move. I hope I'm not too close. I feel like I'm too close to the mic. So I'm gonna push the hair through here because then it naturally flows with the cap, and it just, you know, makes the cap fit much better. Just like that. We're going backward stitch a few times. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and take another track. As you guys can see, we have a little bit left and I ran out. So I'm gonna take another track. These are no longer doubled because I ran out of hair, so I had to undo some of the doubles in the back and then come back and single stitch. Go ahead, lift it up, and then we're gonna go ahead and cut the thread right here on the back. And there you go. That's how you get a rounded stitch. You just turn your cap as you're sewing. All right, so I lowered it so you guys can see straight on. We're gonna go ahead and take make sure it's flat. We're gonna put our first track down. So you wanna put it down first before pushing it under. So if you're someone who don't want to, you know, take it all the way off because these tracks are so small, let me turn the brightness down for you. Because the tracks are so small, you can go ahead and cut it here. You can pull it forward. And then you can go ahead and put the next track down, but going in this direction. So we're gonna lift this up, We're gonna put this track down right underneath. And it's gonna go exactly right here, and then we're gonna move this cap over, because you can move it. We're gonna move it over and then pin it down and start reversing it. Go ahead and lift it up. We're gonna move it. We're gonna cut it one more time. This time on this side. And then we're gonna put this last track right here. And we're gonna start right here with the last track. Lift it up, and we are done. Now I'm gonna just cut this with scissors. Or no, I'm gonna just reach back and cut it. All right, so as y'all can see, we're done with that. And it looks great right there. Looks great. And on top, it looks great. So we're finished. So all we're gonna do now is cut off this little extra piece here. And cut off all the little strings, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to sew it, the closure in, now that we're done with this part. So what you wanna do now is you wanna take your closure, we're gonna take this forward, take your closure and start by pinning it down in the back. So I'm gonna take it from this side, we're gonna pin that baby down, 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 down. Oh, sorry, I'm trying not to be in the way. Pin it down here in the middle. And then pin it down here on the side. You guys see how it pins just perfect? Fits just right, nice and tight. All right, and then we're gonna pin this side down in the front. And this is gonna have a little bit of a stretch to it when I pin it because I want it to be really flat. I'm gonna pin it here. So, pin it here as well. I'm gonna pull it down right here on the side and pin it there as well. And we should be good. this off. It's officially dry. I'm gonna cut it from the back. I hope it looks right. So it is dry. So now we have to go ahead and make our way through and comb through it. I'm gonna put my fingers here. I'm gonna go ahead and start to comb out this hair here. Because it's not hard. It's just holding it, and so I don't want it to, you know, mess up the baby hair yet, and put it right down the middle. Alright, so that is how it's looking. And we're gonna go ahead and press it out and make it stay like this.